The world economy is going through one of its toughest tests in modern history. Markets are unstable, production is slowing, and debts are piling up. But how did we get here? Why did this crisis emerge, and what awaits us in the future economic crisis? Two simple words that have changed the lives of millions throughout history. Lost jobs, bankrupt companies, collapsing currencies. But crises are not just disasters, they're mirrors of our systems. Let us turn back the clock. In 1929, the Great Depression began in the United States and shook the entire world. Banks failed, factories closed, and unemployment reached record levels. People used to say, finding hope was harder than finding a job. Then came the oil shocks of the 1970s. The price of a barrel of oil quadrupled within months. As energy prices soared, production slowed, and the cost of living exploded. That's when the term stagflation was born. A time when both inflation and stagnation existed side by side. Then came 2008. A year the world will never forget. It began as a mortgage crisis in the United States and quickly spread across the globe. Housing prices crashed, banks collapsed, and stock markets plummeted. Millions lost their jobs overnight. It wasn't just economies that fell, people's trust did too. And then came 2020. This time, the enemy was invisible, a pandemic. Cities shut down, production halted, supply chains broke apart. The global economy simply stopped. Governments printed money, interest rates fell, but the damage remained. Many of today's financial problems are echoes of that period. So, how does a crisis actually begin? Most of the time, it starts with too much optimism. Markets rise, people spend more, debts grow. Everyone believes they'll keep winning. But then one small thing changes. Interest rates rise, demand falls, and debts can't be repaid. That's when the dominoes start to fall. Sometimes, a crisis doesn't stay in one country. Because today, everything is connected. A debt problem in one nation can trigger panic in another. Global trade, capital flows, energy prices. They're all part of the same chain. And when one link breaks, the whole chain collapses. So, is the world on the edge of another economic crisis? Many experts say yes. Because the same warning signs are back again: soaring government debt, overvalued stock markets, high inflation, and weak production. The IMF and World Bank have issued clear warnings: the global economy is fragile. Another shock could have devastating effects. Global debt has reached record highs. Many countries owe far more than they produce. Interest rates are climbing, but growth is slowing. It's like trying to run while struggling to breathe. But what does this mean for ordinary people? It means unemployment, rising prices, and uncertainty. A crisis is never just about numbers, it's about human lives. A father who can't feed his family. A mother who can't pay her bills. A young person who no longer believes in the future. That is the real face of an economic crisis. So, is there a solution? If we look at history, every crisis has taught us something. Crises reveal the weak spots in the system. And after every collapse, a new order eventually rises. After 1929 came the rise of social welfare systems. After 2008 came stricter financial regulations. After the pandemic came the digital and remote work revolution. Maybe today's crisis is the start of another transformation. But one thing is certain: no country can survive alone anymore. Global problems require global solutions. Climate change, energy supply, inequality, technological change. They're all parts of the same economic puzzle. Economy isn't just about money. It's about how people live. And people are demanding a fairer, more sustainable, more humane system. Crises are messages from the system itself saying, the old way no longer works. So what should the new system look like? First, an economy built on production. Real value comes not from printing money, but from creating it. Second, balance in income distribution. When the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, every system eventually collapses. Third, strong and transparent institutions. Governments that are accountable and based on merit. And above all, trust. The foundation of every economy is trust. When trust is lost, money loses value and so does hope. Economic stability is not just about numbers, it's about emotions. There's also the psychological side of a crisis. When people are afraid, they stop spending, they stop investing. Fear spreads, and the economy freezes. That's why leaders must not only manage money, they must inspire hope. What lies ahead in the coming years? Experts describe two possible scenarios. The first, a controlled slowdown. Economies shrink slightly, stabilize, and then recover. The second, a hard crash. A chain reaction of bankruptcies, currency collapses, and a prolonged global recession. No one knows which path we'll take. But history teaches us this: those who prepare, survive. Crises also create opportunities. New technologies, new business models, new ways of thinking. Rebirth is always possible. Maybe right now, the world economy is standing at a crossroads. Old habits are fading. A new economic order is emerging: digital, green, and multipolar. Perhaps this crisis is actually a chance. In the end, economic crises are painful but educational. Every collapse brings renewal. Yes, these are difficult times. But humanity has survived every crisis before. And each time, it became wiser. Remember this: crises expose the system's flaws. But what matters most is whether we learn from them. True wealth isn't measured in money, it's measured in wisdom. And maybe the greatest investment of all is faith in the future.